Welcome back to M Hood Fishing. It is super early in the morning. I'm out here in Waukeluskie, Louisiana. We're out here to look for marsh bass and maybe some surprises this morning. I'm going to cover a lot of things about marsh bass in this particular vlog. I know you clicked this about Senkos and Senko knockoffs, fake Senkos, but to start off, since we're here super early in the morning, we're going to do top water first. And then when we get into a little bit more of a sunnier situation, we're going to switch over to Senkos. But let's see if we can get a top water bite. Here's what we're going to start with this morning. This is a Whopper Plopper. It's a 3.5-inch Whopper Plopper. It's a 1/2 ounce, black and yellow. If you're not familiar with marsh bass, it's basically largemouth bass that live in the marsh, brackish water. Now, this body of water we're fishing this morning is a part of Bayou La Loutre, but at this part of Bayou La Loutre, it's basically a bar ditch. Oh, already had a bite. I chose this black and yellow one because this water is murky, it's dirty. Darker baits usually work better in stained water or dirty water. Oh no. Oh, yes. Oh, first green trout. First marsh bass of the morning on a top water, on the Whopper Plopper. That's awesome. Here we go. Here's our first green trout of the morning. The reason why we call them green trout is because in brackish water, they get this greenish color like this. Bass will change color in different kinds of water, and different water temps will change their color a little bit. Oh, here we go. Got him. Right off the bulkhead. That's the hot spot today. Right up on the bulkhead. This feels like a better fish than that first one. Ooh. This is a nice marsh bass right here. Oh, he got off. He was hooked on the outside of the face. That sucks. It's now time to switch to soft plastics. Or we're gonna go with one of these here. But first, this is a real Senko. This is a stick bait by Yamamoto. Most of us just call them Senkos. It is the original. The problem with these at a place like this is there are two problems. These are really expensive and they're really, really soft. Now, in this place that we're fishing today, we're gonna find a lot of crabs. And what will happen with a really soft plastic like this, the crabs can cut this right in half. And these are expensive. These are like, I don't know, I paid almost $7 for this. Now, these knockoff Senkos right here, Yum and Big Bite is what we got out here with us today. These are nowhere near as soft as the Yamamotos. Now, the problem with these is that they don't have the same wobble as the Yamamotos. And then the reason for that is because the Yamamoto has the salt inside of the bait, whereas most of these are just rolled in salt. The salt's on the outside, but these are much tougher, much harder than your Gary Yamamoto. Plus they're just cheaper. I mean, these are like less than $4 a pack. As you see right here, I paid $3.19 for that, and I didn't get this at Walmart. I got this at Professional Sports, and I got these at Academy Sports. Now, because of the tackle shortage, it's been hard to find even the knockoff Senkos at Walmart right now. The closest one to me, all they got is Strike King, and I really don't like Strike King's stick baits. They have no action. Now, these don't have the wobble at all, not even the slightest wobble when they drop. But when you pick them up, when you jerk the bait a little bit, give it a little bit of a shake on that rod tip, these do have some nice action when you do that. Not when they're dropping though. These Yums, they have a slight wobble, not as pronounced as the Yamamoto wobble, but yeah, these have a nice one when they're dropping. So let's go with this. Since we're in darker water, it's kind of muddy. It's not real bad. It's not chocolate milk. We're gonna go with this June bug right here. We're gonna use an /3 offset hook. It's a Gamakatsu. This one is a thin wire, so it's not real heavy. You got to watch the size hook you use. Sometimes if you go really big, like an /5, it'll impede the action of this bait. Now, with these baits by Yum, they have a bait slot right there, or a hook slot, but it's not on a seam. So you kind of have to, you got a seam here and a seam here. You got to get in the middle of that. Go to the first bend and come out. We're going to throw this weightless. If you're throwing weightless, you don't necessarily need to bury the knot, but we're going to bury the knot with a little bit of a tag in to account for slippage hanging off there. There we go. You want to try and get this as straight as possible. Now we're going to put a little slack in that. Try to come up through the center. Don't want too much, you just want enough to where it's normal when you get your hook point through. Now we want to do this and text pose. Just barely get the tip of that hook into the bait right there. And there we go. The whole reason why I'm switching to stick baits now is because I wanted to fish this area here, and I really can't fish a hard bait through here. I have to Texas rig something. As you can see, there's a lot of vegetation. There's a culvert here going underneath the road, and there is bass in it. The other reason why I'm saying that, you know, the reason why I want to use cheaper stick baits today is because why waste expensive Senkos on little fish? Marsh bass don't seem to get, oh, there, oh, where the bite felt like a crab. Marsh bass don't seem to get real huge. Here's a good example. See, a crab has cut this in half. All right, it's time to change the bait, but we're not going to throw this away. We're going to just put it in there for another thing down the road. Let's get into these big bites here. This is the 5-inch trick stick by Big Bite, black and blue tip. This particular stick bait does sink slow, and it does sink just like that. It does not have a wobble at all, but it is a slow sinker, which is good. If they sink too fast weightless, you're less likely to get a fish on the drop, and that's usually when you pick up a fish with these stick baits, is on the drop. Not always. With this, we're just slowly crawling it and hopping it slightly. We're fishing this on a slack line. I usually fish my stick, letting that truck go by. I usually fish my stick baits and Senkos on a slack line, especially when I'm throwing weightless. Sometimes I'll feel the bite, but most of the time it's about the line moving. This isn't deep water right here. This is really shallow. Since this water is really shallow, it's good that it's a slow sinker. Let's go to the other side of this canal. All right, we're back where we started. It's still going off over here. We got this little guy hanging out, so we're not going to throw the top water. He's maybe about 4 feet long, isn't he? Go on, go on. Turns out the best part of this morning's bite was right before sunrise. After that, it just turned into a gar fest. Just tons and tons of spotted gar. Not a lot of action from bass. It went really, really quick. So the Whopper Plopper did the best. There was a couple of bites on those cheap stick baits I was using this morning, but there was a lot of this from crabs. Was it worth it? Well, I had a great time. Didn't catch enough fish though. But like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.